Hello everyone, welcome back to the Java tutorial series. In this video, we will learn what a two-dimensional array is, how to declare and initialize it, and how to access and display its elements. So let's get started. So, what is two-dimensional array? A two-dimensional array is an array that contains multiple arrays. It stores data in rows and columns. Stores data in rows and columns, just like a table, spreadsheet, or a matrix. It is useful when data needs to be organized in a grid format. So it is an array of arrays, and when we have in tabular format rows and columns, in this case, so these are the rows and these are the columns. So in this type of scenarios, it is kind of similar to table or matrix. So in this type of case, two-dimensional array is used. So let's take some real life examples. So consider a student marks in different subjects. So these are the subjects: maths, science, English, and each row represents a student. Each row represents a student, and each column represents a subject. A two-dimensional array is perfect for storing this type of data. So, student Chintu has scored 85 in maths, 90 in science, 88 in English. Likewise, Debu has scored 92 in maths, 89 in science, 95 in English. So, this is row 1, this is row 2, column 1, column 2, column 3. So we'll see in IntelliJ how this two-dimensional array it works. So declaration syntax. To declare a two-dimensional array, use two square brackets after the data type. So after the data type, we need to add two square brackets. Marks is a, here in this example, marks is a two-dimensional. Why two-dimensional? Because here it is two array. Two-dimensional integer array. So let's move to IntelliJ and see the example. So let's say int two arrays marks equals to new int here we need to provide the number of rows and number of columns. So as we have seen in that marks example, there were two students, so for that two rows were there, So in the first square bracket, number of rows, that is 2, and in the second square bracket, number of columns. So there were 3 subjects, so the value will come is 3. So it has 2 rows and 3 columns. So marks is a, now with this statement, marks is a 2-dimensional array which contains 2 rows and 3 columns. Java automatically initializes all elements to their default value, and in the previous video we have seen the default value of int type is 0. See, all those value will get assigned equals to 0. Next is initialization. So I will comment this out. Now we will initialize 2D array with their values. Let's see. Array marks equals to, we will curly braces, and we will have marks, that is 85, 90, 88. So these are the marks for student 1, and for student 2 the marks are 92, 89 and 95. So this way we can initialize 2-dimensional array. So instead of assigning values one by one, we can initialize the array directly using curly braces. So each inner curly braces represents a row. This is row 1. This is row 1. And this is row 2. Now what if I want to access the marks or elements of an 2-dimensional array? How will I access the value of 2D array? So to access an element, we will write marks, and let's say I want to get the marks of student 1 for this subject, the second one. So we need to add the row value and the column value for that particular subject. So I want to see for student 1. So there are 2 rows, so starting row is 0, so it will be 0. And I want to get marks of the second subject, so second column, that is 1. Since index start with 0, second column will be 1. Now let's run the program and verify the output. So in the output we can see the marks is 90. So that's how we can access the value of a 2-dimensional array. To access an element, specify both the row index and the column index. So here in this example, row 0 and column 1 contain the value 90. Now, okay, we'll comment this line. Now I want to modify any of these marks. Then how do I do that? So for that, I will write marks row value 1, and I want to modify the last subject of second student. So I will add column index as 2 equals to 100. So for student 2, currently it is 95, it will be updated to 100. So let's verify. Marks second student and third subject marks, it should be 100. Let's verify. So in the output we can see the marks is 100 for second student and the last subject. Now we'll comment. Now I want to traverse using nested loops. Traverse in the sense I will print all elements, all marks for both the students, for all subjects. So for that we will use nested loops. As we have already seen the concept of nested loops, we'll implement for int, I will use r here, row equals to 0, that is for first student, r less than marks dot length r plus plus. And I will write another loop for column int c equals to 0 and c less than marks of row dot length and c plus plus, and I will print marks row and column. I will print here. So this is nested loop. Nested loop means one loop inside another loop. So the outer loop is for row. Since we have two rows and 3 columns, and rows are for student 1 and student 2, and columns are for 3 subjects. So outer loop is iterating for each row. That means on the first iteration it will iterate for student 1, and in the second iteration it will iterate for the student 2. Now suppose for student 1, that is r equal to 0, now we will execute the inner loop. So for student 1 we have different subjects, so that will be iterated as part of inner loop. That's why here we have written in the condition marks of row, that is student 1 marks length, that is 3. So it will iterate for all 3 subjects, and we are inside student first, so it will iterate for student 1. Then I have entered a new line. Then again it will go for r equals to 1 after r plus plus. So r equals to 1 means student 2. Then again it will iterate for student 2 and it will execute inner loop. So for student 2 also 3 subjects, it will iterate and print the marks of student 2, and again it will put the line break, so it will print student 2 marks. So let's remove this line, remove this ln, so that for each student marks will come in a single row, but we'll give some spaces. Yeah, now we will execute and see how it is coming. So in the output we can see for student 1 marks is coming in a single row for all 3 subjects, and then I have entered the line break here, so it is cursor gone to next line, and for student 2 again 3 subjects marks. So since a two-dimensional array has rows and columns, we use nested loops. The outer loop iterates through rows while the inner loop iterates through columns. So let me comment this thing. We can enhance this loop. Since we have declared marks, I will bring this one down. So we have marks two-dimensional array. There is another way of traversing this loop, traversing these values. So let's say for int array and the variable is row, and here we'll write marks. So marks is a 2D array, so we are iterating 2D array, so each time we'll get one row, and then again with that row we'll iterate, which contains integer value, and we are iterating row, and we can print here, instead of ln we'll print value plus, we'll give some space, and here again we'll give the line break. So what we are doing here, so marks is a two-dimensional array, here we have declared, so the same marks we are iterating, and it is return type is integer array, so for each row we are getting an integer array, then again that row we are iterating in the inner loop, so that row is of integer array type, and inside this we have the integer value, that's why we have added here integer value, and the variable name is value, so we are printing that value. So this is enhanced loop. By this we will get the same output. Let's verify. See, here we can see the student 1 all 3 subjects, and then student 2 all 3 subjects. So row means student 1 all 3 subjects, then again it will go for student 2, then again all 3 subjects. So two-dimensional arrays help organize data efficiently in rows and columns. They are commonly used for matrices, game boards, sitting arrangements, and mostly tabular data. So these are the advantages. And let's summarize what we have learned so far. So two-dimensional array is an array of arrays, and it stores data in rows and columns. And we can access the values with the help of row index and column index. And we can traverse with the each and every element present in the two-dimensional array using nested loops. That's all for this video. I hope this tutorial helped you understand two-dimensional array. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.